Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez puts the pressure on Canelo. I was born ready. Alvarez and says he would love the fight, and Canelo knows that he ain't no Sergey Kovalev and he ain't no Callum Smith. He a different animal. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Let's jump into it. Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, I believe he's a free agent at the moment, and he discusses a potential bout, a long sought-out bout against Canelo Alvarez. This is what he says, quote, "Anything is possible. It'll be a great fight for the fans if a fight with me and Canelo happens. With two Mexicans in the ring, you know it'll be a war from round one. We'll see what happens in the future." Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez goes on and says, "I never look past any fight. In this sport, on any given night, the best man will win. All I got to do is train hard and prepare myself to be the best for when the occasion rises. Marcus Brown, Dimitri Bivol, Artur Beterbiev, or Canelo Alvarez, it doesn't matter who I fight. I always train hard to make sure I'm ready when the fight is here." Lastly, we'll see if Canelo is able to do it again and fight as a light heavyweight. He's already fought at the weight division once, and I don't see why it should be a problem unless it was a fluke. But I do understand he and his team will have to be a lot more cautious navigating through this weight class compared to the lower divisions due to the higher risk. Also, we've been around each other before, and we even sparred. He knows I'm not just a Kovalev, another Sergey Kovalev, or a Callum Smith. It'll be Canelo versus Zurdo, an instant classic, a great way to showcase top-tier Mexican boxing to the world. I think fans would love this battle between Sinaloa and Jalisco, end quote. Listen, the pressure is really on Canelo Alvarez. Great fighter, very skilled guy, but everyone sees what he's doing. The WBC is allowing him to do it, and this is the reason that Canelo has received criticisms in the past, and it's just fighting who he's fighting. I mean, the irony of this whole thing is you see a lot of the racist fans who they said they hated Floyd Mayweather, and what Canelo is actually doing, these are the reasons that they claimed that they hated Floyd Mayweather. They said, oh, we hate Floyd because he waited for guys to get washed up and out of prime. But Canelo fights a 41-year-old Baldomir, a 40-year-old Shane Mosley, Sergey Kovalev, who almost got stopped the fight before in the Anthony Yard, right? And he was 36, 37, somewhere like that, and he had already been defeated by Andre Ward, right? They say, oh, we hate Floyd Mayweather because he's a cherry picker. But Canelo, his DAZN career, look at it. He fought Rocky Fielding, Danny Jacobs, and Sergey Kovalev. Who else? He fought recently Callum Smith, and he's about to fight Avni Yildirim. So out of that fight, the one recognizable name or two would be Kovalev, who again almost got stopped his previous fight right before. So the best fight that he had on DAZN is Danny Jacobs, who had respectable wins leading up. He had like 4 fights in a row where he fought undefeated fighters or whatever. So he was on a 3-win streak, right? These are the results of what Canelo's been doing, and he's getting paid, which is cool. Like, get your money. Nobody's tripping off of that. But DAZN is very foolish to think people want to see Avni Yildirim and Fieldings and Kovalev at the point in which they fought. And it's funny because now the pressure keeps mounting. Listen, you could say whatever you want about me, but when it's coming from your peers and they're saying the same stuff, then it becomes a whole nother situation. Timothy Bradley, a former fighter, former champion, who has a great resume. You could say whatever you want. Tim Bradley fought the legends from Mexico like Juan Manuel Marquez, which is one of my favorite fighters, right? He fought Manny Pacquiao, the legend from the Philippines. It's my fight with Timothy. Right? He fought everybody that he needed to fight. Well, he amassed a good resume, we'll say. So he said to Canelo, he says, man, the Yildirim is a punching bag. He's already coming off a loss on a long layoff. We already know what's going to happen. Canelo needs to knock this dude out pronto. He says, because at the end of the day, this doesn't really do anything for him, and Canelo's not fighting the best. Now you have Zurdo Ramirez, who has been calling out Canelo for years, and they've sparred before. I'll show you a little snippet of that. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego. A storm is coming. Conor McGregor, the rematch is here. Poirier versus McGregor 2, only on ESPN Plus. Use my link in the description. UFC 257. See you at the fights.
Who the fuck is that guy?
So you guys just seen it. UFC 257 ordered the Conor McGregor fight from me using my link. It does help the channel continue to grow. You've seen some clips of Canelo. It's an old clip of Canelo and Zurdo Ramirez sparring, and it's just a good fight. I agree with Zurdo Ramirez. He's a free agent, so that makes it easier to navigate. I'm not really sure what happened with Top Rank and why he stopped working with them, but that's where he's at. He's already got a fight in by himself without Top Rank since he left Top Rank. Recently, he had a card with Michael Hunter, and he's been calling out Canelo. And the funny thing is, Canelo, there's certain styles that he's clearly not fighting. And Zurdo Ramirez is a tall Mexican fighter who has a record of 41-0, undefeated, 27 knockouts. He's a volume guy. He's taller than Canelo. And guess what? He's right around Canelo's age group. Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez is 29 and Canelo's 30, right? Canelo and Charlo's, the Jamal Charlo was born months before Canelo. So they're both age 30, right? Andre, he's probably a little bit older, 30 something. And these are the styles that he's not fighting. You look at David Benavidez, he's 24, I think, 24. When will Canelo fight someone who's younger than him, who has some height advantage, things like that, and who has more of a style that most people believe would be competitive against his? Canelo has already demonstrated against European, Eastern European fighters, flat-footed fighters, guys who lack ring IQ, you know, the British fighters he's fought, he's undefeated against them. But the one guy that beat him, Floyd Mayweather, a black fighter who is from America, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and has an American style, when will he fight styles similar to that? Or even guys who gave him more trouble, like Afro-Cuban Edeslandi Lara, right? Who knows how to use his feet. Guys like Caleb Plant, he knows how to use his feet too, so it would be a good fight. But instead, he's fighting Avni Yildirim, who has probably very little footwork, you know? The other thing that's very concerning, and it should be concerning for the Canelo fans, is that you have a fighter who represents Mexico and another fighter out of a different part of Mexico in Gilberto Ramirez, and Canelo's been on record saying he doesn't want to fight a guy who bears the same flag as him, you know? So basically he doesn't want to fight another Mexican fighter, he said. And that just sounds outlandish because it's not a disrespect to your flag or heritage or culture to fight another great fighter from within that same bracket. If anything, that should be an honor. You look at the history of boxing, no other fighter in the history of boxing that I could recall, or at least from Mexico, has ever said that. You never heard Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. say he'll never fight a Mexican American like Oscar De La Hoya. You know why? Because he did fight De La Hoya twice, right? You never heard Juan Manuel Marquez said he'll never fight Marco Antonio Barrera, or Eric Morales will never fight Marco Antonio Barrera, the babyface assassin. You've never heard anyone say that. But Canelo and Canelo radical man fans, they're okay with Canelo saying this. And he's being called out by his countrymen. Why is it that Gilberto Ramirez has no problem fighting somebody who shares the same flag as him? And see, back in the thing, we got to bring boxing back in the allure and luster which made everyone fans. Classic trilogies like Marco Antonio Barrera and Eric Morales, those were classic fights. And part of the hype for that fight, if you know what you're talking about and you know the history of the sport, is because Eric Morales was from Mexico, and he's from one part of Mexico, and you have Marco Antonio, who's from a different part. Morales, he's from Tijuana, and Marco Antonio Barrera, I believe, is from Mexico City. So based on their regions, they were almost, even though they're from the same, overall country, they're fighting from different sections. So it was almost like Bloods and Crips. It was like, I'm trying to put on for Mexico City. That's how Marco Antonio Barrera fought, and that's how he felt. So it was almost like a beef because they were like claiming sets. And you have Eric Morales, who was like, man, I'm repping Tijuana, so nobody wants to lose. And they gave us a dope trilogy. And that's basically what Ramirez is saying. Zurdo Ramirez is saying, bro, we're both from Mexico. We sparred before. Let's give the fans a classic battle. And the funny thing is this, when you have fans, you even have Hispanic fans who they'll brag about the Latino blood and the classic fights, and some that even say guys like Erislandy Lara or Mayweather are boring or runners. So why would you not want to see Canelo versus Zurdo, two guys we know aren't boring, right? Who also come to slug it out, but have technique, have offense. Canelo at least has a defense, things like that, So to me, it's just a bad look with Canelo continually perping and going after certain fighters only. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Use my link, UFC 257. We'll discuss this more, but I think Canelo, and I've thought this for a while, Canelo versus Ramirez is a good fight. And you could even make a strong argument that it's better than the Kovalev fight at the time in which he fought. You could say, I guess Kovalev had a bigger name, but in terms of fan-friendly fight, if we can squeeze in these Rocky Fieldings and Yildirims, why can't we squeeze in a guy like Zurdo or a guy like David Benavidez, who we know are Mexican or Mexican-American, and they have a distinct style that should be fun? It makes no sense. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.